London is in the middle of one of the most exciting periods of transformation that we've seen in decades, from mixed-use precincts to decarbonisation and new investment models. I'm Belinda Coates, and The Connector starts now. Welcome to the program. Joining us today is Gareth Hardy, Director and Co-founder of Third.i Group. We just caught up in London recently. How's your jet lag?
Yeah, I think I'm a week behind you, so I'm still sort of, I think it's like early morning now in London, so I'm wide awake, so to speak.
Fantastic. It's a good time for us to be meeting then.
Absolutely.
Gareth, you've been closely involved in shaping projects across London. Can you share a little bit about Third.i Group and what drives your work in the built environment?
Look, I think one of the most exciting things as a business that Third.i has, particularly both in Australia and London, is that we've in control of our own destiny, and we've got a mantra as a business to build for all right? And I think if you look at ourselves as a business, we sit across, locally SDA products, you build to sell, you build to rent, later living, and sort of single family housing on top of some large scale commercial. And I think that's where we saw our opportunity in London in such a global gateway ultimately, that we could take what we've learned here and move it into Europe and UK specifically, but at the same time also take some learnings from the UK and bring it back here, and I've got some great examples about that.
Yeah, that's what I love so much about in the work that I do, is bringing together the insights between Australia and the UK and seeing what we can learn, particularly with housing. There's quite a bit we can learn from housing rollout and some of the roadblocks as well. But so you've been in the UK for around 10 years now?
Yes, correct.
And I'm so proud when I go to London and I catch up with different Australian businesses there, Lend-Lease, Plenary, IFM Investment, Australian Superaware Super, and it's really exciting to see how successful Third.i Group has been in not only in Australia, delivering so much housing and mixed-use development in New South Wales and Australia, but also now in the UK. So what's been the most exciting thing about having developments in the UK?
Look, I would be lying to say it was easy. We've lived through Brexit and COVID, but I guess you will never find a perfect time to start or sort of go into a new environment. But I think one of the most exciting things we've found is our key USPs here have only sort of skyrocketed in the UK, and what we've learned in the UK has also now impacted our business here. I think only recently we won the government tender on the Crow's Nest Metro Overstation, and a key part of that strategy was building affordable housing, and for nurses, basically for building affordable housing for nurses, which is very close to the biggest hospital in Sydney, and that is something we took from the UK. As you know, all UK developments normally include 40% affordable. In Australia, we're only just coming up now to 10 to 15%. So the market of affordable housing in the UK is significantly far ahead than Australia. But on the flip side, adult social care in Australia, in later living particularly, and SDA now off the basis of NDIS, is so far ahead of the UK. And it's something that we're now looking to implement in the UK. So you can see that in some instances, in one city and one nation is so far ahead in certain different elements of the built environment, and it's vice versa. And I think that's the really exciting opportunity that we've found, and hasn't necessarily by design, but more by sort of suck it and see it. But we're now really benefiting from that. And the really exciting thing for us in London now is we've established ourselves, we've learned some lessons, and we're about to go to that next level.
Yeah, I can see your eyes light up too when you talk about being able to provide those solutions for accessibility and key worker accommodation. And with Australia needing 1.2 million homes in 4 years and UK needing 1.5 million homes in 4 years, isn't it amazing that you've been able to work across borders from UK to Australia, share insights so that you get better together? And do you think that more companies really should be looking at leveraging what they're doing in Australia into the UK, or vice versa, UK residential developers and mixed-use developers looking to Australia as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the hardest thing in our world is there is never going to be a good time or the best time to do one of these things, particularly now, given, I guess, the market to a certain extent has hopefully hit the bottom. But that also offers opportunity. And I think one of the things that we've thrived on is how we take that sort of environment, create the opportunity, and then create a USP. And that is what we've done with our learned experience in both countries. I think one of the most exciting things for us is it is a very hard place to enter, but if you have a clear plan and strategy and you have advice, you can really sort of transact yourself straight.
You're speaking my language now. You're speaking my language. So having a clear strategy has really helped you, put you in good stead for the UK.
Yeah, I think where we really sort of cut our teeth is actually, firstly, it's a little bit different to Australia in that it's a bit closer knit, albeit such a bigger environment. So one of the first things we did was look at stakeholder engagement, and that is from the boroughs, local government, to the lenders, to the agents, to all the stakeholders, because each borough, particularly in London, is very, very isolated from the other borough in terms of the way they view things, whether it be for affordable housing. You know, we operate in sort of the Wandsworth, Southwark, Lambeth areas, and they have very different policies in some instances, although they're getting aligned now. And I think once we identified that, then we created our USP with each borough and council identified individuals to help us progress that.
So for each borough, you found you needed a specific USP, and you needed to understand the nuances and the regulatory environment for each borough. And was that hard to do? Actually,
if there's ever an environment that is a lot more sophisticated than London, it's that engagement with the local borough, and there's a lot of lobbyists out there who have access, and the local borough is also, and the local borough representatives are encouraged to actually go and meet the other stakeholders, which we are major one, because they see us strategically incredibly important for them to actually contribute to building infrastructure alongside housing and affordable housing, and also, given London is such a vertical living environment, we've also got to look at how we support that living environment with, you know, your NHS, your medical centres, your retail, and ultimately that's how that affordable housing environment works, that we're not just building housing that is complementary to the city, but it is also affordable for those who support that community in the city.
They have a real focus on resilience in London, don't they? I think, is that something that we could learn a little bit about in Australia?
Yeah, look, I think it's some of those buzzwords, the urbanisation, the decarbonisation. I think one area that London is a lot further ahead than us, particularly from policy, is urbanisation and decarbonisation. It is now a planning requirement at such a high level that not only the lenders are forcing these types of conversations, but legislation by the government is also forcing it. Now, it's not to say Australia isn't there yet, they are definitely moving, but it is also encouraging us to use more technology, more efficient, functional, sustainable procurement process that enables a better outcome for both us and the end user all the way through, which also means we've got more longevity. And I think that's a byproduct of what's happened over the last 5 to 10 years in that built environment. We've been encouraged not just by the money, but also by legislation that's enabling us to, or forcing us to a certain extent, to move along quicker. And I think that's something that Australia is catching up, because our vertical built environment is now a non-negotiable, because we are not building fast enough.
We're definitely not building fast enough. And what do you think we could be doing to be building faster, to roll out these 1.2 million homes in Australia and 1.5 million in the UK? I mean, even London alone needs 88,000 per year, I understand.
Yeah, look, I think it's interesting because I'm jumping between the two, but if I'm brutally honest, we're doing it now. The politicians actually are doing it now. You can see what the Premier of New South Wales has done recently. He's bulldozing through, which is, I think, that will just encourage so much investment, and it will give us confidence to go out in there and take a few more risks. I think that's one element where London is missing a little bit more of higher level political sort of thought process into that built environment. And the issue we've got now in London is, while it's driving at that local level, we've also got to get that federal and sort of middle level of government to also help, I guess, the local level also push, because the local level tend to be under-resourced as well. all right? And so we're now also facing Building Safety Act regulations, which is probably the biggest issue in the UK at the moment in development world.
It definitely is, and some of the meetings that I had last week when I was in London, some of the developers were saying that it's now from land acquisition to passing on a key 7 years to get someone in a home due to these new regulations.
Yeah, and here is the problem. I think if I flip back to Australia quickly, that's something that we've done over the last 5 years, and we're at the other end of it. So once again, we're taking that learning, and I guess this is now the opportunity from those who are going from Australia to the UK of what we've learnt in that environment, so that we can also overcome some of those hurdles in London and the UK for that matter. I think
definitely, I think that the UK and Australia developers such as Third.i Group and Lend-Lease and Plenary, etc., really need to be that voice of reason and bringing back to Australia what we can learn from the UK and vice versa, bringing to the UK what we can learn from Australia. So I definitely have seen through my experience how well London treats Australians. I think they roll out the red carpet for us, and it's fantastic, and I'm really encouraging of what you're doing. What are you most excited about in the future for London for Third.i Group?
Well, I think exactly what we've kind of just touched on there. I think our learnings that we've done here, particularly in adult social care and also, I guess, the building regulations, I think that's probably our two really most exciting opportunities, because while it's probably the most difficult market as it stands today, but that is actually the opportunity because of what we know already. And once you get that clear strategy and get a core people around you to support you who have already kind of blazed that path, it's a really exciting 5 to 10 years, because you are going to go into an environment that you've already got knowledge on, and you are going to be sort of a thought leader, and that'll enable you to kind of hit the ground running, but also climb really quickly.
Amazing. I'm so proud of what you guys have been able to achieve, and I'm wishing you guys all the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing you do even more great things in the UK, particularly some overstation developments coming soon, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Thanks, Belinda.
Just want to quickly say that Gareth was the one who got me into being interested in rugby, but unfortunately it kind of backfired because I ended up going to a game with the Lions supporters, and I ended up becoming a Lions supporter. So
yes, sacrilege.
Anyway, thanks for joining us on
Thank
The Connector,
Belinda.
and I look forward to seeing you in Australia and in London soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. This program has been brought to you by Harper B. This is Ticker. We'll be right back.